Hello, my lovelies. It is Kirsten. Thanks for joining me today. I am getting started on the series that was the most highly requested off of the poll that I sent out recently on the community tab, which is all about the parts of professional life that no one wants to talk about. I'm really not sure where my love of talking about unspoken things comes from. Maybe it's my childhood where my family just talked about poop at the dinner table, not sure. But I do know that this is actually here at the front of my mind to serve dancers, because the more that we bring these things that are actually harming dancers mentally and physically to awareness, the more that we can actually start to rebel against those things, not embody them, affect change. So that might sound like a pipe dream, but this is really what my career is all about. Wow, we're really getting existential here. So let's just get into today's topic, which is that dancers believe that getting a professional contract is their one way to happiness. Well, what no one talks about is that it's not. Shocker. Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to expose what tends to really happen when dancers enter a company. What are the trends as far as how long dancers last, how they exit, why they just move on to something else, how they become disillusioned, dissatisfied, all these things. Because I think we have a lot of our hopes and dreams as dancers wrapped up into the achievement of this one goal, signing your name at the bottom of this contract to your first professional company. And it's so thrilling, and you feel like you've made it until a couple weeks, a couple days, if you're lucky, a couple months into the job, you realize, wow, now the work begins, and there's so much I wasn't actually prepared for here that thwarts my happiness on a daily level. So I'm going to talk about those things. But yes, let's get going. Okay, so one of the first things I have observed in dancers that come into a professional company for the first time that actually takes away their happiness is that they have worked so hard over so long to get to the achievement of that goal, that once they get in a company, this is totally understandable, but they're exhausted. They feel like, oh, now I can enjoy my life. Now everything is perfect and good in the world. And you're so burnt out from putting in so much effort to just get in the dang company that you don't want to just own up to the fact that that's when a lot more work begins. And it's so easy to just sit back and celebrate and just want to enjoy the good life you finally earned after so long. But the truth is that once you get into a company, you have to completely reorient your motivational structure. And this is not something schools prepare you for, right? You're so used to being held accountable all the time for your progress. You're used to being watched like a hawk most of the time. Most dancers are. You're used to being directly rewarded for your hard work. You're used to being seen for your hard work. That's a big one, because a lot of dancers get into companies, and the thing that takes them down is, so many of us have a value for feeling seen for our work. And that makes sense, that's a very human thing. However, you have to really be prepared for the fact that once you get into a company, even if people see your hard work, and that's a big if, it's just kind of expected. Okay, so don't expect to be seen and rewarded. But anyway, so even if you are seen for your hard work, a dancer would expect to feel some sense of reward or recognition for that, but there's actually very little in a professional company. So I'm not saying any of the things in this video to discourage you from going for this goal, because it truly can be a fulfillment of your dreams for sure. But I would love to put this information out there so that dancers don't go into companies and immediately get their bubbles burst. I think you know what I mean. So yes, it's easier to be seen and recognized for your hard work, or to be, chastened when you're not working hard enough in a school. But then when you get in a company, you are your own accountability buddy. You are it. That's pretty much it. And you might feel reprimanded for slacking off, if you're not cast in parts, but at that point, it's likely that your first impression has been set in stone. It's really hard in a company to work your way back up from a poor first impression. And that first impression, if you're not ready to change your motivation to work for yourself, to go in a studio by yourself and work on something, to understudy something when no one asked you to be there, to spend your breaks going over the choreography and stepping in, like being ready to step into another girl's part when you're not doing anything, even if you weren't asked to learn her part, that's the kind of stuff you're supposed to do. So it's like this silent expectation that dancers aren't usually prepared for very well. And yeah, if you don't meet that, if you don't come in ready to work like that, and you make an impression that you're actually not very motivated, that you're not a self-starter, that you're not like ready to go and really work for yourself and go above and beyond, not just meet expectations, then you might risk making a poor first impression, which might limit your results for a long time. It's pretty hard to come back from that. So that can tend to really take away from a dancer's satisfaction. And really more on a mindset level, you have to know why, like what you want to get out of dancing. Really, why do you want to dance professionally? Is it because it just seems that the image built up for you through example, through other dancers you've seen in the media who have achieved that professional contract and achieved this glamorous lifestyle? Is it that you just want what they appear to have? Is it that you don't know what else you would do with your life? You don't know how else to be happy because your life has really been about dance? These are questions that every dancer really needs to ask themselves. These are things that are so worth exploring. Because if you don't know why you really want something, if you don't know what you're trying to get out of it personally, other than just the goal, other than just the contract, because that's supposed to be awesome, right? Then it's very, very difficult to find your purpose within the environment. And then it's very likely that once you achieve that goal, if you do, your bubble will be burst. And you realize that, that only gave you a moment of satisfaction. And now what? You don't know really then that you have to find your purpose and your satisfaction, your joy in the day-to-day. And in dancing, the other thing I was going to say is that you have to love the work. You have to love the rigor, the challenges. You can't just love dancing for the results it gives you. The process is really what is significant to the soul of an artist. And that's what ultimately leads a dancer to be satisfied in this profession. And no matter if it is ultimately where you're supposed to land in life or not, there will be joys and there will be challenges, no matter who you are or where you're meant to be, But as for those who ultimately leave the profession very dissatisfied, it's likely because you haven't given yourself a chance in life to explore what truly gives you a sense of fulfillment and purpose in what you're doing and what you're going after. So I just wanted to pop in and mention that it's very important to explore what you're really trying to get out of a professional career, because chances are just about, a good handful at least of other things can fulfill that desire within yourself. And yeah, I just like to say that because truly it is my belief that there are a lot of people out there pursuing a professional career in dance that they don't really know what they're trying to get out of it. They don't know why they want it. And there's ultimately something else out there that's a lot more fulfilling, a lot less difficult, that could be checking that box for them. The other thing is that there can be a sense of entitlement that comes from, paying tuition at a school. When you are training, it is likely that unless you're on full scholarship, you are paying to be there. Therefore, as a service provider, that school owes you something. They owe you enriching experiences that are meant to grow you. When you get into a company, they don't owe you anything. And so even if you don't feel entitled, it's very easy to still let entitled thoughts and beliefs like kind of be in the background of your mind, to where you think, oh, well, I'm pretty good, I'm probably going to get those parts, or I've put in my time, or I've come from this big school, so I should be recognized for that. I'll be fine. I'll get recognized. And then you don't really want to own up to the fact that when you get in a company, you're really starting from ground zero. That can really mess with somebody. And I've seen a lot of dancers get, really disillusioned. And what I've seen many, many times is, after just a few short weeks or months of not feeling seen for your efforts, having your entitlement bubble popped, realizing that it's a little too late to undo the first impression of kind of slacking off that you created in the beginning, I've seen a lot of dancers completely lose their motivation, their sense of life, their sense of joy in dancing, and injuries come. When it's funny, like the mind is very powerful and sneaky. It obeys our commands. If you subliminally are done with this profession, it's just not filling you up anymore, and you just want to get out of there, you're not happy anymore, your body will just obey that command. The mind makes it happen, whether it be through injury or just burnout, complete lack of motivation. You lose your energy, you lose that spark that probably got you noticed in your auditions, and before you know it, you're just ready to scrap all this and start a new life. And I've seen many dancers within 1, 2, or 3 seasons stop. There's kind of this mass exodus that tends to happen. And usually a big disparity between artists who have been there for many, many seasons, and then the buttload of dancers who come in, usually working for free, and, get tired of it, get tired of how unglamorous it actually is, and then leave. But don't worry, there's going to be a new crop of 50 dancers who are willing to work for free that will step right into their places. So it's getting a little dark today on the Twin Talks Ballet channel. I'm sorry about that. But I'm also not that sorry, because these are the things in the ballet world that you have to be aware of. And I say all this to actually just make you aware of one reality that is seen in professional companies, but it doesn't have to be your reality. That's why I share this information. Anything I share is in the name of being constructive, okay? It's not to tear anybody or anything down. In fact, it is only to make you aware of things that could potentially bring you down in your journey, so that you can do something about it, so that you can go into a company and be so proud of yourself, really ready to celebrate all that you've earned, and then earn something more, set up more goals, do more things, be so motivated at what your hard work has done for you that you're ready to put in more, okay? And that is what I hope for you guys. The last thing I will mention is the amount of inner work that it takes to become a professional. Like, in your mind, you have to really become so resilient, so positive, actually, so confident. Well, I'll take it back. You don't have to be positive, but you have to be indifferent to the things that will drain your energy in a second. If you are running your solo or something, or you're not going to probably not be running a solo when you get into a company. But if you are rehearsing and at the beginning of your dance, you have a thought, I don't think I'll have the energy to get through this, or I look terrible, I missed that piqué or that turn, whatever. Thoughts like that, it's not that you're going to stop getting them in your mind, but you have to learn how to be indifferent to them and not affected by them, or not affected by your fears, your nerves, your insecurities, so that you can be a consistently good performer. Consistency is huge. Focus is huge in becoming a successful professional dancer. And honestly, training programs don't really prepare dancers with the amount of interpersonal mindset work that it takes to really become a good professional dancer, because it's so much more than what your body can do. You have to work on your mindset, because if you have fears and insecurities that are just consuming you, it doesn't go away when you become a professional. You really have to face those things, because suddenly it matters a lot. If you have an off day, if you have an off show, you have to learn how to be the master of your own mind, and very motivated. So that's not something I see schools preparing dancers for. Yeah. And that's something that really affects dancers' ability to perform and their satisfaction in their work. So I think that's all I'm going to say for today. Those are some of the main things I noticed that lower a dancer's satisfaction once they get into a company. And yeah, I hope all this was very helpful in building awareness of what could happen when you join a company. Not what will. I'm not saying it will. But like I said, the more you are aware of it, the more you will be able to mitigate that risk and really be in charge of your own journey and create your own path. So that's all I have to say. I am going to make a video, actually it will be my next video, about toxic thinness culture in ballet. This is a big one. I've held off from talking about this for years, but I think I'm ready. I'll get into that in the video. But anyway, I very, very, very much hope that the first episode of this series of things, let's call it, rough aspects of professional dancing that people don't talk about. Something like that. You'll see in the title. But there will be several more installments of this, and if there's anything in particular you want me to talk about in regards to the subject of dancing professionally and things that you know might be a problem but people don't really talk about it, let me know in the comments so that I can consider making a video about it. Until then, sayonara, peace and blessings. I will see you soon. Bye.